everybody, welcome to the EM Code. I'm Dr. Wajiha, emergency physician by occupation. Join my quest in asking right questions from right people to get right answers. The guest for today is Dr. Julie from Brasilia, Brazil. She's a consultant emergency physician working there, and she has so many things to her credit. Let's ask her herself.
Hi everybody, I am Julie. I am an emergency physician here in Brazil. I am head of the emergency resident program in Brasilia, capital of Brazil. I also am a founding editor of the Emergency Rules blog, and I am a member of the Brazilian Society of Emergency Medicine. And it's really a pleasure to be here talking to you about my experience, and I hope you're gonna have a really great time.
My first question to you would be, why did you join emergency medicine? What was the thing that attracted you to emergency, and what has kept you in the department for so long?
Well, emergency medicine is a specialty really new here in Brazil, was recognized just in 2015, and I was in the last year of my residence in intern medicine when I was introduced to this test from Joylex, emergency from the United States, and I was really inspired about it. It was a test about the mindset of the emergency physician. Then I really understood who I was as a doctor and what I wanna do to the rest for the rest of my life. So was love at first time. At that time, I was already working the emergency department, but then that was the day that I understood what means to work in the emergency department as an emergency physician. And yes, it's about the adrenaline for sure. It's really nice when we can save a patient's life. It's really I don't have words, but I think it's most for me. It's most about how insightful perspectives we have from life connections, just to be able to be there to the patients in the worst days of their lives, like so meaningful.
That's a great perspective to be staying in a department for so long. I happened to stumble on your article about burnout, and probably that's how I reached your account. So tell us about your burnout. Like, at what point of your career did your mental health take a back seat? How did you cope with it? And who helped you come out of it? What would be that one advice you would want to give to somebody, and who's in burnout?
I think that is I don't have this quite experience. I think that I really met a lot of really good and nice emergency physicians here in Brazil, but again, we are just a really new specialty. Yeah, sometimes people that work in the emergency department, they really can have a rough time. It's really a specialty, especially here in Brazil, because some hospitals, the emergency department really so deorganized, and it's really a mess place. And people, we are just learning and about management and how to better provide supplies, resource, and how to train our people. So yeah, sometimes it's really hard, but most of the time, I mean, I think that is most of these days, I think people are really nice.
How do you handle violence in emergency room? Do you think men and women handle violent attendants differently?
Well, violence, it's a really big problem here in the emergency department in Brazil, and I think all of the world. And well, I personally don't have to deal with that in a long time. I think that when I was young and more young, because I'm pretty much young today. But when I didn't have so much experience about emergency medicine, and I was in emotional intelligence, I think this is important too. Yeah, and communication. I think there was the time that I was at greater risk, and I have to face some of these conflicts. But today, I don't have so much of this problem. I think that when we organize our emergency department and we train more specialists and we train our professionals like nurses, technicians, I think that it's gonna be better and this risk you will decrease. Well, but humans, we will always be space to conflict. Is how we deal with that is different. And today we have really security in our hospital. So this is something that I think is important too. I think we are doing everything that is needed. I think we now have this, it's a subject in the medical school. So the students now has to be involved in emergency medicine. We are growing the emergency program, residence program, and Abramed is our society and is really fighting to improve everything about our specialty. So we're going to the right direction. I think now we just have to be patient to understand that sometimes things take time. We have to be together. I think that is really important that as a group we stick together to make this grow and to spread this knowledge.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the pandemic. How did you handle yourself in the pandemic? What were the challenges you faced as a person, as a consultant in the Department of Emergency Medicine? How did you handle the team?
Yeah, the pandemic was has been really hard here in Brazil. We are a really big country and we have a lot of states, and each state have some kind of quality of health system. It's universal. It's a public universal health system, but each state has a different quality of this system. So I was lucky. I am in the capital of Brazil, and yes, I am really grateful because it was hard. We had a lot of deaths, but we could help most of the patients, especially in the emergency department. We could organize, we could have PPEs for everyone. We have oxygen, and I say that because we had some hospitals here in Brazil that was time they had lack of oxygen, and I cannot imagine how difficult was for these healthcare professionals to watch some patients die because of lack of oxygen. It's just the basic, and I was really excited, anxious in the beginning. I thought I could not endure such a difficult time, but the residents, they were amazing. They stepped up and they said, we're gonna help you. We're gonna help our hospital. We're gonna help the patients, and it was really amazing. They were really a good team. They suffer a lot. We all do. We all did, and we are actually still suffering. But yeah, and I hope this will end soon because it was really hard.
No wonder it might have been tough, and it's a good way of coping with it. Spanish happens to be the most spoken language there. So, do you find language as a barrier to keep yourself updated with the updates in emergency medicine? Those happen to be mostly in English.
Yes, absolutely. I think that we as emergency physicians have to face the fact that we will always be present in the patients, in the family, in the worst day of their lives. And yes, of course, that it is the worst part of our job. And I think that I've been through a lot. I am graduated almost 10 years. I think a little more than that. And yeah, I was really a longer road, so I could understand that I should protect my mental health. So I think that you should have self aware. I think that you should be able to practice and understand yourself so you can protect your mental health through this job that is really hard, and really dedicate yourself to learn about communicating with people. We have really standard protocols, and you can start from for that. So I think that we should learn about communication to understand how to be able to do that properly. And I think that you should try to understand yourself and practicing meditation, therapy, and really reflection of yourself and your feelings, so you can deal with these emotions and be protected, because we really have to do this job. Well, English is our second, should be our second language. It's not so easy for for all the population, but yeah, since medical school we are encouraged to learn English and to read in English. And we know that all up-to-date knowledge about about medicine is in English, so we have to do. Was really hard for me, but yeah, I was getting used to. And the knowledge about emergency medicine is, as I said, really new, but is from because of social media. I think that is getting easier to be translated and to be shared to everyone. So I think that is social media has so many things, and sometimes can be really hard and bad, but sometimes we can use to do good too. So this is something that social media used to help to share and translate knowledge.
Let's talk about the iceberg. Have you faced gender discrimination? If yes, please do share. If no, I would be surprised.
Yes, I did suffer gender. I did face gender discrimination, and was a long time before I was aware of this as a problem. It's like I was used to, you know. I think that was just part of the job. But then one day, and was before I became a leader and a preceptor, so I was feeling this responsibility of the education of someone else. Then one day, a student, they called me and said that he saw that that I was suffering discrimination because of my gender, and probably because of my race. So I've thought about that, and I thought, well, I need to speak up. I now I have this responsibility. Then maybe I can't change this person, but I can help the students be better. So this is something. There was something that was important to me, and yeah, I talk more about that, and I speak up. And I don't like conflict, so I try really hard to not fight, but I try to make people think. So when this happened, so most of the time I'm gonna go like that. Well, why don't you think I was your doctor? Why was that? And I'm not gonna be like fighting, but this is something that gonna make this person think about that. And I don't know, maybe this changing.
The diversity in our cultures is what keeps us unique. So, coming from Brazil, let's talk about emergency medicine in Brazil. How different is it from the UK, and what are the development in the field of emergency that are going on there? How do you keep yourself updated?
Well, I I think that what really help and that is helping our specialty here in Brazil is the exchanging of knowledge. So I was really privileged. So I traveled to USA, I went to Canada, and I went to Australia. I was 1 week in in a hospital in Australia, and these experiences really bring a lot to my practice and to help me to teach my residents and my students. So I think this is really important, but I think this is already happening. I mean, this I can only talk about myself, but what I'm seeing is a lot of people really nice trying to help everybody, and it's happening a lot of translate exchanging of knowledge.
Since we're talking about Brazil, let's talk about how developed countries in the field of emergency medicine help the countries those are developing. What are your thoughts on this?
I think about giving up on emergency medicine for mainly practicing here in Brazil. I think that for after a time when you work in a healthcare system that sometimes faces lack of support from so many things, it can be very very dangerous because it can hurt our core belief. When someone dies and you feel like it was negligence of the system, the government, or other co-workers, it's very painful, and confuse our expectations and what we believe is right, our moral code. This is the first step for burnout. This is moral injury, and can lead to burnout. So at that time of my life, I was traveling to observe emergency medicine service around the world so I could learn and I could be the best preceptor I could to my residents. Then I saw how much better we could do or we should do, and come back was really hard. Then I come back to the right reality that was so much worse than before, because now I could see how better we could do. Then yeah, it was really painful, and that time I thought a lot about giving up.
That's a great way to keep yourself updated, observing them and bringing the better things from other cultures to yours for better patient care. I don't think there can be a better practice than this. We're living in a smart world that has apps for everything. So, what's the artificial intelligence you use daily? Like, what are the apps you use?
Yeah, we use a lot of apps in our cell phones. The one that I really use a lot is MediCalc. It's like a calculator to like score or calculate the reposition of sodium, for example. This is the thing that I use most. And actually, there is this app that I am developing. It's about organize the CPR. And I think it's really great, and I'm really excited, and I'm gonna send to you the link, and I would be really happy if you use and you tell me and send me some feedback about how you think, what you think. And yeah, it's really simple. It will be a countdown to each cycle, like 2 minutes cycle, and in the end of the 2 minutes he will start another countdown of 10 seconds. And this 10 seconds is the time you have to check the pulse, check the rhythm, or to use ultrasound. And when in the end of these 10 seconds, if you don't resume CPR, he will start a sound alarm, so you can be reminded that you should resume CPR as soon as possible. And of course, if you don't, the countdown will continue. And this, because of this, this app can measure the FCT, the fraction, the thorax compression fraction, about how many time we do CPR, and how and comparing to the pauses. So I think really it's really nice. It's really simple, but I think it's really helped, and I use sometimes, and yeah, it's really great. And you can use to education, and I thought how the students understand faster and better what is the cycle, what to do in each time of the cycle. And the app will give you the reminder to choose the person that will do the CPR in the next cycle, and to charge the defibrillator. So I think it's really great, and I hope you can try and send to me a feedback about it.
Oh, there are quite many. I need to make note of them. So, moving on, let's talk about your website, Emergencia Rules. Tell us more about it.
My website is called Emergency Rules. It's like a joke we call here in Brazil. I just chose a Portuguese name and an English name, and this is like emergency rules. It's something like that. And yeah, I started when I discovered about emergency medicine. I was introduced to this test from Jules, and I was amazed, and I started to look in the internet about what it is emergency medicine. And I found these blogs. It was a lot of blogs, but the first one was Doc, and I was really amazed. I mean, it was really nice. The way they talk about emergency medicine was so easy, to understand, and the mindset, how they choose to manage each disease. So I was really inspired, and then I thought, we don't have something like that here in Brazil. Actually, we had that time one blog was Breakiem, and well, I thought we need to talk more about that, and I want to do the same, but in Portuguese. And I was really passionate about talking emergency medicine in Portuguese. And yeah, this is why I started the blog, and because I really like to talk about my cases, and studying and doing trying to do the best of evidence-based medicine. So yeah, it was because of that. And yeah, I think we are growing. Today I have some friends and some residents that help me in the blog. We have Instagram page that is really nice, and I'm talking about emergency medicine in the Twitter all the time. and it's really nice. And because of this, we was amazing because I could translate a lot of knowledge that people really was not aware, because emergency medicine is really new. So we have a lot of doctors work in the emergency department, and they are not aware of this knowledge, because we don't they don't teach this way to us in the medical school. We learn about the specialties, we learn about clinic intern medicine, cardiology, but we didn't learn about emergency medicine. So this is really new. Today we have in most of these medical schools a chair about emergency medicine, but it's really not that common. So yeah, I think my blog helped it a lot, and I receive feedbacks all the time about it, and it's really make me happy. It's really nice.
Thank you so much, Dr. Julie. Thank you so much for your time for the EM code. We'll be delighted to be associated again with you. Thank you.